What's up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. Cheers. Grab you a beer. Let's make some baby back ribs. So as promised, we're getting a nice rib going today. We got some nice baby backs. First thing, as always, gotta get this membrane off. I've had them sitting out here at room temp, or actually in the kitchen at room temp, for 30-45 minutes just to let them, not be fridge cold. So now that they've, warmed up just a little bit, I'm gonna flip them over and get this membrane off. We're cooking at 275 today. Got the nice Texas perfume wafting over already, and I couldn't be more excited. Oh yeah, so this membrane's coming off really nicely. I didn't really need to use the fork today. Sometimes if you have trouble getting under it though, you gotta kind of get under there with something, a fork or a knife or anything. Get that membrane off. Anyone who's done barbecue for any time at all knows this step, but why do we do this? Some people might ask. You want your seasoning to adhere to the meat itself and not that membrane that can make it a little tough. I don't know. I'm not a professional. Everybody else does it, and that's what a chef buddy of mine told me once. This actually doesn't really need trimmed. Sometimes I will trim a rib, if there's any pieces hanging off or anything like that, to keep them from scorching on the grill, getting too dry. But this is a pretty clean cut of meat, so we're just gonna go ahead and get some seasoning on it. So since we're cooking meat side up, I'm gonna go ahead and get the bottom portion of it seasoned. Today I'm using the Gospel, again, Meat Church. Has a pretty high salt content, so that's where we're gonna get most of our salt seasoning from. Gonna hit it pretty good. Then after I've got it pretty liberally seasoned with the salt, today I'm choosing to hit it with the Honey Hog barbecue. I also have a Honey Hog hot, but my wife doesn't really like it very hot. Not a very high salt content. We're gonna get some sweetness out of this, so I'm gonna also season pretty liberally with the Honey Hog. Looking pretty good. Flip side, again, pretty liberal. Hit her with the Gospel one time. Ribs are really easy to cook. We're talking time and temp, so no matter what kind of smoker you have, what kind of grill, you can do this on your own. And again, this really isn't meant to be an instructional video. I just like making ribs, and I figure, why not share them with others, Okay. Got that seasoned nice. Hit her with the Honey Hog again. Oh yeah. You're not gonna over season, so I've been told. Again, I'm not a professional. Try this at home. Of course, use whatever rub you want, it doesn't matter. I've used I like the Famous Dave's rib rub a lot. Just once I found Meat Church though, I really like his videos, but his seasonings are also really dang good, so I tend to just stick with what works. Like I said, we're cooking at 275 for a couple hours till we get a nice color on it. Then I'm gonna pull them off and wrap them, and I'll show you what kind of madness I'm gonna put in the wrap later. It's gonna be really good. But for now, I'm just gonna let this sit for about 15 minutes till the seasonings absorb or pull out some of the moisture from the meat. These things will be looking nice and wet here in about 15 minutes, and then we'll get them on the smoker. That's about all there is to it, really. There is science to it, but you don't have to understand the science to make really good food outside in the yard. Cheers, everybody. All right, so it's been about 15 minutes. These things are nice and wet looking. We got the smoker up to temp. We're gonna do a little apple juice bath. I'm gonna throw this on the smoker like I always do. Sometimes I use beer. Today I'm using apple juice. I'm gonna put that on the smoker so that when it evaporates, it'll moisturize the meat a little bit. I will probably spray it once or twice during the 2 hours that it's cooking, probably just once. I'm gonna go ahead and get this on the smoker. I don't know if y'all are anything like me, but if you are, if you're watching this video, you might be hungry right now. Might be hungry for some barbecue. Usually when I'm watching anything on YouTube, if I'm watching Meat Church, if I'm watching any of these other outdoor cookers, if I'm watching Guy on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, it's usually a good sign that I'm hungry, because once I eat, then I'm like, oh, I don't really want to watch that anymore. I mean, sometimes I will for information, but usually if I'm watching a cooking video, it's probably a pretty good indicator that I'm hungry. I also find that if I start smoking meat early in the morning, you know, before I've really eaten anything, or even if it's halfway through the day, I might do a light lunch if I'm cooking barbecue, because I just have way more enthusiasm if I'm hungry, you know? This looks amazing. I haven't eaten much today. Let's get this on the smoker and we'll cook it for a couple hours. Sometimes I feel like I need a bigger smoker. I had the water pan, the apple juice pan, the beer pan, what have you, in a position that wouldn't really let me get the ribs on. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just cook these things sideways today. But, and you could. The perfectionist in me though is like, I gotta figure out how to move this apple juice around a little bit to give me a little bit more space. So some could argue that this is the best part of cooking right here, you know? It's on, we get to smell the meat, and we get to just drink some beer. Chill outside, it's a beautiful day, and wouldn't rather be anywhere else. I always clean as I go. I don't like to let my mess compound on me, and it'll definitely do that if you let it get away. Cheers. Glad to see you here today. I'll probably spray those things once. We'll take a look at them after a couple hours, see what the color's looking like. If it looks pretty good, then we'll go ahead and pull them off and wrap them. And again, I'll show you what I put in my foil. I make a little bath, put the ribs in. I don't know what you do. I'd like to see what you do. But I'll show you what I do here in just like right now, actually. All right, so our ribs have been on for a couple hours now. Let's go ahead and make this this bath to lay them down in. They got a nice color to them. Man, it's looking super good. So what I'm gonna do now, like I did with my pork, these are pork ribs, so I pretty much always do it the same way. I'm gonna do some brown sugar. I'm gonna do some butter. I got Kerrygold butter. I really like using the Kerrygold, but you can use anything. Put a little butter down. This is all gonna melt and meld as it cooks in the foil. A little more butter. A little more butter. All right. And then I'm gonna hit it with some honey. And I'll show you this bath here in a second. There you go. And we're just gonna lay our ribs face down in this little bath that I've created here. So yeah, again, not a whole lot to it, just good ingredients, and pay attention to our temps and our cook time. I have this double wrap because I don't want to lose any of those good juices. Wrap them up tight. I'm gonna put these back on the smoker at 275 like we had it. And then these actually came up to, what was it? 175. So I don't have a lot of cook time left. Be sure you keep checking your temps. I'm gonna go ahead and cook them up to 203 and then we'll be done. Got them wrapped. I'm gonna throw them back on and I'll show you this concoction here in another hour or so. Cheers, everybody. Nice and simple, nothing to it but to do it. Oh yeah, we're going meat side down this time. Okay, and since we're doing barbecue, I love corn on the cob. Love corn on the cob with barbecue. Love corn on the cob, period. So we're gonna get some of that going too, and I'll show you how I roast mine. Pretty simple. Again, what do we know good barbecue takes? Time, patience, paying attention to your temperatures, using good ingredients. Pretty straightforward. It's no different with the corn on the cob. I do want to keep the husk so I'm not tearing them off. I'm gonna wrap them back up in this, and it's basically gonna steam inside the husk, inside the foil. Peeling back the layers. All these little hairs, I'm gonna remove all of that. I left these sticking out of the foil one time and they actually caught fire, so I'm gonna make sure nothing's hanging out of the foil once it comes time to wrap. But I'm gonna do my best just to remove most of those little hairs. I remember shucking corn as a kid, picking corn. We grew corn outside on our farm. This kind of takes me back, except for I'm not exactly shucking it, I'm just peeling back the layers. I got some country crock here. I'm just gonna hit it with a good amount of butter. I'm gonna coat these things in butter. I love butter, who doesn't, right? I do cornbread a lot. Today I'm just doing corn on the cob. Always got a bean going, you know. Got some baked beans. But baked beans are easy. Spice them, heat them up, do what you do. Maybe you make them fresh, homemade. I don't have a baked bean recipe. I just like the Bush's Smokehouse Southern Pit. That's usually what I do. Add some seasoning, some rub to it. Once I get it nice and buttered, I'm gonna hit it with the Holy Gospel, also for Meat Church. Gonna season very liberally. Again, I never under season anything, I'll tell you that. Get it going. All of this is gonna melt in the foil and cook nicely. I'm gonna replace the husk. Pretty simple, hard to mess it up. I don't have a lot of room on my Traeger, so I'm gonna do these in the oven. I know, last time I did them on the Traeger, they were really good. I'm gonna cook at 350. Just gonna wrap them nice and tight. If you look it up online, it'll say cook corn at 350 for like 20-25 minutes. I do mine for like an hour and it comes out great. Not too crunchy, not too chewy. So I don't know what that 20 minutes is all about, but I'm gonna put those in for about an hour and it's that easy. Butter, seasoning, do what you want really. Wrap them up, cook them till they're done. Gonna have some nice corn on the cob to go with this beautiful barbecue, which the ribs have been on for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna check the temp here in about another 30 minutes and then we'll pull them off. I'm gonna throw some barbecue sauce on them, put them back on for about 5-10 minutes, let that caramelize on there. We're gonna have a nice rib to go with this corn on the cob. See you soon. All right, we're about to see what we did. Cheers, everybody. What a beautiful day to barbecue. Oh, you know when those bones are popping out, it's looking really good. You want to see those bones coming through? That's how, like, if you're not temping it, a lot of times you know it's done if those bones start coming through. It's got a nice bend to it. These things are definitely done. Looks delicious. I'm gonna add some barbecue sauce. I prefer Sweet Baby Ray's. A lot of good barbecue sauces out there. I've never had one I didn't like. I'm gonna add some barbecue sauce. Get that nice and rubbed on. And then I'm just gonna throw it back on the smoker for another 10 minutes to let this sauce caramelize a little bit. These babies are looking delicious. We're about to be rewarded for all our hard work today. About to eat. 10 more minutes at 275. And then I'll let them rest for a bit. Now that is a rib. As you can see, I have a pretty sorry excuse for a cutting board here, but I don't know what happened to my big one. Turns out it fits pretty good. I guess it'll have to do. I'm gonna let it rest here for, I don't know, 20-30 minutes. I'll probably take it in the house and let it rest because the flies are crazy out here. But pretty good cook. I'd say it came out about perfect, but we can't determine that until we take a bite. So coming up, we'll do the old chef's bite out here in the backyard. Looking forward to it. Got the corn put in. We're rocking and rolling. Well, we did it. That's a cook. I'm usually the world's worst at slicing ribs, but today I feel like it turned out pretty good. You know, the way the bones curve, sometimes it's a real bitch, but pretty happy with the slice. Yeah. Oh my God. That's a great rib. I highly recommend it. You probably make great ribs in your backyard too. If not, don't be scared of it. Pretty easy. I'm about to take these things inside and demolish them. So, you guys have a good one. Have a beer. Cheers, everybody. That's a cook. See you next time.